Okay, today I'm reading from October 20th of the Daily Bible. This is about the visit of the Magi and the flight to Egypt right after Jesus was born. First, we're going to read this editorial from the author as he gives an explanation of exactly what's kind of going on through here. The rite of purification takes place 40 days after Jesus' birth and ordinarily would have required the offering of a yearling lamb and a pigeon. However, the law permits poor parents, such as Joseph and Mary are, to offer a second pigeon or dove instead of the lamb, which they cannot afford. Thus, even by his parents' offering of purification, it can be seen that Jesus comes humbly into the world. Despite these lowly beginnings, news of Jesus' birth spreads quickly throughout Judea and even beyond its borders. Matthew records the account of a visit to Bethlehem by certain philosopher priests, who, interestingly enough, may be even pagan Zoroastrians from Persia. Their presumed contact with the Jews in the dispersion has undoubtedly made them familiar with the Jewish Messiah of prophecy. The Magi are prompted to travel the great distance to Jerusalem because of a star which appeared in the time of Jesus' birth. It is not known how many make the journey, and certainly no compelling evidence exists for the traditional three. But there they apparently arrive about 6 months after Jesus' birth and inquire as to the child's whereabouts. By this time, Joseph and Mary have found accommodation in a house, and it is in this house that the Magi's gifts are offered to the newborn King of the Jews. Herod is alarmed by the Magi's visit because he believes Jesus' birth poses a political threat to his reign. Because of this, Herod sends his soldiers to Bethlehem to kill all male children who might have been born within the time frame suggested by the Magi's calculations. By Jewish reckoning, any child over 12 months is considered 2 years old. Since apparently 6 months have passed since Jesus' birth, Herod makes his order broad enough to prevent any mistake by including all the estimated 40 to 50 baby boys in Bethlehem who would be up to 12 or 13 months old at this time. As will be seen, however, Joseph will be warned about the slaughter and will quickly depart for Egypt, where he and Mary and the child Jesus will stay until after Herod's own death. Now we're going to read Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 8. Wise men seek Jesus. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star in the east and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed, and all of Jerusalem with him. When he had called together all the people's chief priests and teachers of the law, he asked them where the Christ was to be born. "In Bethlehem, in Judea," they replied, "for this is what the prophet has written." Quote, "But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for out of you will come a ruler who will be the shepherd of my people Israel." Then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and make careful search for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me so that I too may go and worship him." Matthew 2, verses 9 through 12. The wise men visit Jesus. After they heard the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen in the east went ahead of them, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold and incense and of myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. Flight to Egypt, Matthew 2, verses 13 through 15. When they had gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. "Get up," he said. "Take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him." So he got up and took the child and his mother during the night and left for Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod. And so was fulfilled what the Lord had said through the prophet, "Out of Egypt I called my son." Matthew 2, verses 16 through 18. Herod orders slaughter. When Herod realized that he had been outwitted by the Magi, he was furious, and he gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had learned from the Magi. That was then what was said through the prophet Jeremiah was fulfilled. Quote, "A voice is heard in Ramah, weeping and great mourning. Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted because they are no more." That's the end of the reading for today. Now let's go back. Let's look at this visit from the Magi. Now, if you know the story of Daniel, when Israel was taken captive into Persia, into Babylon, Daniel was a wise man there, and he was well equipped to interpret dreams and read the stars and prophesy and all kinds of things. And I'll bet, and this is my own opinion, this is what I think, that he must have written something down that tipped off these wise men, these Magi. So they were, I'm betting that they were reading something from Daniel. When they saw the star, they said, oh, Daniel wrote about that. So that's why they came looking all the way back in Israel for the King of the Jews. Now, look at this. It says here that when King Herod heard that the King of the Jews had been born from these Magi, he was disturbed. It says, and all of Jerusalem with him. So he wasn't the only one disturbed. Everybody in Jerusalem was disturbed. I never saw that before. How weird is that? And when he called the people together, the chief priests, teachers of the law, he asked them where the Christ was to be born, and they replied, in Bethlehem in Judea. And here's the kicker. They even say it. Okay, they say, but you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, by no means least among rulers of Judah, out of you will come a ruler who will be the shepherd of my people. Look, it says that this ruler is going to be the shepherd of my people. And yet these priests are ready to give him up. They're all like disturbed, right? So they're ready to give up this baby to be killed. The ones that they are saying is to be the shepherd of Israel. I mean, how disturbed is that? Do they honestly think that they can thwart God, that they can oppose God and win? They are stupid. I mean, look at what happens next. Well, you can't fix this. You can't try to, circumvent or outdo God's will. Why? Because, God sends these angels down and they warn Mary and Joseph, of course, and they're out of there. So God, what we see here is God, the Father, he's protecting Jesus even as a baby. Jesus and his whole family. And the angels are there, So there's nothing that King Herod could do. He thought he could. But, that was it's just sick and wrong. And then he goes ahead and kills all the babies under, about 12, 13 months old in Bethlehem, just to protect he's an old man. and a baby is born, and he's already worried that he's going to lose his throne. The man's going to die. How stupid is he? Anyway,